Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday night live stream. Hope everybody is well. Hope your weekend went as well as mine did, and I hope you've all had a nice week. Seems I didn't see you last Wednesday on the on the paint stream, as I was away with the family for a few days. But I got back middle of yesterday afternoon, around 2 o'clock, something like that. So yes, I am. I'm back streaming again tonight. My little one was at school today. I had the whole day. Well, I say the whole day. I dropped them off about 9 o'clock, and then I picked them up at, what time was it? I picked them up at like 3:15. So I've had most of the day to actually do some work and get this studio tidied up and get prepped for tonight. So yeah, I hope everybody is nice and well. Let's see who we've got in the chat tonight. Say hello to a few folks. Connor was in nice and sharp. Good evening, Connor. Hello to Lord Maiden as well. Hello, Ian. How you doing? Peter Nicholas says, I'll see you later, but I think I saw his name down the chat as well. So hello, Peter. Ice Moon is in. Good evening to you. Marcus the Super Pumpkin Man. We've got Peter Kuhlman. We've got Nigel Jones. We've got Blizzas. We've got Marcus. We've got Rob Zunk in as well. Hello to all you fine folks. We've got Yokerman as well. We've got Jim Zarm. Hello to Jill as well, saying have a good stream. Need an early night, but look forward to catching up later. Hello, Jill, in the catch-up in that case. We've got Tiberius Wallace in as well, saying he's got a pint and 40 scribblings of the realm. Tonight could be dangerous. Strap yourself in, mate, you'll be fine. Christian, hello to you as well, fella. Jacob, hello as well. Colin Wakeland is in. We've got Ed Handley. We've got Dave Mackay. Nice to see you at the weekend, Dave, as well. We'll be I did manage to see a few folks who I've seen their names in the chat tonight. I saw them at the weekend. I went to an Armada Tournament, Kings of War Armada, not Star Wars Armada, Kings of War Tournament at Mantic Games on Saturday, and we'll be chatting about that later on as well. Let you know what my thoughts were. Getting more games of Armada in is never a bad thing, but yeah, I'll let you know how that went, and kind of say hello to a few folks. I apologise if I miss anybody out, but I do have a memory like I save, so let me just go back and check here as well. We got Ortega, hello in the rerun, mate, when you're watching this back. We've got Michael Cowan as well, says, who's ready to spend around £200 tonight? I'm not trying to get you to spend any money. I am widening your horizons to see just what's out there. Spiderlord, nice to see you in again, mate. John Estel, hello again, buddy. Nice to see you as well. He said he's hopefully reaching halfway through a legion of gobkins. Nice, mate. Cracking on with those. Hello, Scott Longworth as well, mate. Nice to see you. Glenn Griffin, we've got Sumberlin. We've got Tolmar in as well. Marcus is painting dystopian walls and following my tutorial while watching. Thank you very much, mate. We've got Dead Earth Games in as well. Good evening, Rich. How are you doing? We've got Fast Panda Gaming in. Hello, nice to see you as well. Lord Main saying, how are you? I'm okay, thanks, mate. Thanks for asking. VJ, good morning to you, sir. Marcus is saying, don't forget to drop a like. 28 likes. Can we push that up a little bit? Ian said he's doing okay. He listened to the new Iron Maiden album before the stream. It's good. Iron Maiden's never really been kind of a band that I've been sort of hugely into, but I wouldn't say like I didn't like them. It's just not. It's not. I don't think it's that kind of sort of heavy rock or heavy metal, if you like, is not really kind of my first choice. Bobby Clark, good evening, mate, to you. He said he's packing for a 40k charity event this weekend. It's nice to see events starting to happen again, isn't it? Like I say, I was at this one at the weekend, and it just, like, within 5 minutes, it was just like, oh, I've missed this so much. Simon York, good evening to you as well, mate. James Bray, good evening, sir. Yeah, and a bit more chat there about Iron Maiden. So nice to see everybody in, nice and sharp. We've got a nice bunch in, nice and early. So yeah, tonight we're going to be chatting about a few things. I want to chat about a little Kickstarter that is just launched, and I just want to kind of pop that on the horizon for you folks. So that's one thing. I want to chat about a gaming club, which won't make much difference to most of you, but if you're based in the Northeast, I would like to kind of give you a little nudge about that one. And I also want to talk about, I'm trying to think of all the things. I didn't write these down now, so somebody remind me. I want to chat about the weekend event, and then obviously we've got the main topic as well for tonight, which is 5 miniatures games under £40. And I just thought I was kind of struggling for a topic for tonight. I'll be completely honest. Having a few days off last week, I intentionally kind of didn't really use my phone much. I tried to kind of have a bit of a break and relax and wind down a bit. And I come to do some work today, and I felt like I was completely out of the loop. So I had a bit of an empty brain this morning, but I did come up with this topic, and I thought, in the interests of kind of trying to make hobby accessible to everybody, if maybe you're short of a few quid, or maybe you just fancy a kind of dipping your toe in with maybe a little bit of a cheaper entry point, or maybe you've sold some old models and you want to give something else a try. Are there any games out there that you can get into, sort of legitimately kind of starter sets, 2-player games that you can kind of get into for less than £40? So that's what we're chatting about tonight. And I'll also have some kind of honourable mentions of things that didn't make the 5 I'll recommend, and I'll explain why they didn't make that list. So if the 5 I mention are not really for you, there'll be some other ones there we can chat about too. We've got Kenneth Paulson in. Good evening to you. We've got Bloggy in as well. Ed Handley said he's painting Reavers tonight. They're actually good in Kill Team 2. That's because you've got to take all of them, haven't you? Vijay says, do I get up and paint some terrain, or do I stay here toasty and warm in bed? I know what I would do, mate, but then I'm a bit of a lazy so-and-so, so don't take my word for it. Scott said he's going to see James in concert on Thursday. Nice one, mate. I think I'm sure I've just seen that they're playing somewhere else as well in the near future. Tony Howell, hello. He says, now you dirty stopouts, howdy doody. Andy Smith says, hello, how are you all doing? I'm doing pretty good, thanks, mate. Wayne Hayward said, am I going to buy into something new after tonight's topic? Who knows, mate? Who knows? Like I say, for less than 40 quid, they're not a bad entry point. I've got a number of different price points as well, so they're not all like $39.99. And I've tried to spread it across lots of different kind of genres as well. So there's a little bit in there for everybody. We've got Ariel Sanchez. Hello, he's from Castleberry in Florida. Nice to see you, Ariel. Nigel's chatting about a game there. We'll get onto the games in a bit, mate. Dave saying, did you get back in time for your dinner reservation? I did, mate, yeah. Our dinner reservation was for 8:15, I think it was. Was it 8:15? Yeah, it was 8:15, and I got back for about like 7:30, so just time to get back and get showered and kind of freshen up a little bit, and then down for dinner. But I must admit, the little one, who normally goes to bed about like 8 o'clock, 8:30, was pretty tired by the time I got back. Hello to Ryan as well. Nice to see you at the weekend, mate. A very good showing from you, which we'll get to soon. Derek Hodges, hello to you as well. He's putting together a 3D printer tonight. And yeah, a few people chatting about bits of games and stuff. I'm not going to talk about those ones. We'll talk about which ones we're going to talk about when we get there as well. So I might as well kick off with how we got in. We've got 68 in. I'll have a little bit of a chat about the Armada Tournament at the weekend. So I'll be honest, I didn't take a lot of pictures. I think I took 1 picture or 2 pictures. And the reason I didn't take a lot of pictures was I was just having a good time. I wasn't there to kind of make any content or anything like that. I wasn't there working as such. I was there essentially to basically have some fun and play some games. So the event was organised by Mantic Games. It was at Mantic HQ in Nottingham, and it was the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first Kings of War Armada tournament. I think there was, off the top of my head, was there about 10 or 12 folks turned up. There was a few people dropped out at the last minute. Some people couldn't attend, so there was a little bit less than we were expecting. However, there was a decent turnout, and we played at 200 points. So you basically built your fleet out of 200 points. There was a good mix of different kind of factions that were there. So I took my Empire of Dust. There was a couple of Empire of Dust players, I think. There was a few Orc players. There was 1 Battalions. There was a couple of Dwarf fleets, I think, maybe 2 or 3. So there was a good mix of different stuff. There wasn't any of the Kingdoms of Men using the Warlord ships. But I think that was the only faction that wasn't represented of all the ones that are currently available at the moment. And we played 4 games over the day, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. My first game was against Dan Kennedy, who sometimes is in the chat here tonight. He's one of my Patreons, so it was nice to kind of get a game against some folks who I don't, even though he lives in the northeast, we've never played a game before. So I had my first game against Dan. Dan had his Basileans with him, and they were painted absolutely beautifully. I actually voted Dan's fleet as the best painted for the day as well. I was really impressed with him, and he did go on and win best painted fleet. So I'm glad that was the case. And we had a great game. We played the first scenario. which I think is called Flotsam and Jetsam, where essentially you have to sort of pick up bits of treasure around in the water and try and hang on to it. And it was a pretty evenly matched game. By the end of the game, we pretty much played a perfect draw. We had exactly the same amount of treasure each. We destroyed almost the same amount of points each. We got the same amount of bonus points each. So we played out a draw in that first game. So my idea of being the wooden spoon and getting prize for coming last kind of went out of the window on my first game at that point. And then I played my second game against Martin Kennedy, who happens to be Dan's brother. And I played against his dwarfs. And the next one we played was the Vortex. And in this scenario, basically there's a big swirling vortex in the middle of the sea, and you need to get close to it to score some points. However, if you get too close, it can pull you in and basically destroy your ship. And all the while, you've obviously got sort of your opponent shooting at you as well. First time I played this scenario, really enjoyed it. Martin knew what he was doing as well. He sort of sailed his ships very well. I managed to kind of sail one of mine into an island pretty early on, and it got sandbanked basically and couldn't go anywhere. And that was a bit of a turning point for me in that game. And I ended up losing that second game and didn't do too well. But I had a really good game. I really enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun. We stopped for a bit of lunch, and then we played the third scenario, which was it wasn't no, it wasn't. Did we play the Kraken? Yeah, we played the Kraken. Did we play the Kraken? No, we didn't play the Kraken. I think we played... Oh, I might have got those mixed up, actually. We might have played Vortex, the third one. So what did we play the second one? Yeah, I can't remember now. Might have been X marks the spot. My mind's gone blank. We played another scenario anyway. Anyway, I played against John Binham, who is another member in our Facebook group. And yeah, Vortex was third. X marks the spot was second. That was it, mate. I knew that was the case. And yes, so we played the Vortex third. I played against John Binham. He had his Orc fleet. So up until this point, I played against 3 different factions. John played a really good game as well. It was super, super close, and it all came down to my last move of the game. I was basically on points. He was winning 16 to my 15, and on my last 2 moves, I managed to kind of sail 2 of my ships into the Vortex and score a point each on each of them, which put me, I think it was like 17-16 in the lead, which meant I won that third game. So at this point, I was a draw, a loss, and a win. Had a great game against John. Really enjoyed it again. Nice to meet him as well. I'd not met him before. And then on to the fourth game, I played against Mr. Estelle, who's just come out and reminded me what it was. And John had his orcs as well. And we played sort of, what's it called? The Kraken, something the Kraken. I can't remember the Kraken scenario. Anyway, we played that, and again, it was another one I think I played it once in the past, that scenario, but it had been a long time since I'd played it, and again, I did all right in this one. I thought I'd lost the game. I wasn't really taking a lot of kind of damage off John, but unfortunately, the Kraken was doing a bit of that damage for me, so that was kind of helping out, and we got right to the end. We basically called time, and I think if we'd done another turn, John would have won the game. I think that would have gone ahead. But at the point where we called it, at the end of that turn, so we were supposed to play 6 turns, and I think we only played 5, and we ran out of time in that one. And at that point, I think I just nipped the win. So I ended the day on 2 wins, a draw, and a loss. So I was more than kind of pleased with how that went on. And I have no idea where I came. There was a few. John's just popped in the chat there. Hello, John. How are you doing? There was a few there was a few errors, I think, when they calculated who'd won and who'd lost. Sort of who'd won the tournament and things. So by the time after I left, I think they recalculated them and realised where everybody was. So I have no idea where I finished. I assume with 2 wins, a draw, and a loss. I only lost 1 game. I assume I was in the top half, but certainly there's a few people in the chat here tonight. So Ryan, Oh, sorry, Ryan's saying there was 11 people in it. Elvis basically made up the odd number and made it 12 people. Ryan, who's in the chat, I think finished, was it second or third? I think he did pretty well. Never played the game before with these dwarfs. Did really well. I think also I'm trying to remember who did. Martin Kennedy, I think, might have finished third, I think it was. Who beat me basically in my second game. I think it might have been Sam might have won the tournament if I remember right. So yeah, it was a really good day. I had 4 really good games against 4 really good opponents. Everybody played it in good spirits. I didn't hear any kind of rules disputes. It was one of them games where after playing again for 5 minutes, after not playing at all this year, I think, after playing for 5 minutes, it had all kind of come back to me. I needed a little bit of help on certain kind of sort of edge case rules, things that didn't happen very often when it comes to things like boarding actions, or when it comes to sailing into islands, things that don't come very often for me in the past. But yeah, it was just super fun. It was nice to get together with folks. It was nice to kind of like get some games in again, and it was nice to get back like on that kind of tournament, sort of like having a day playing games. I'm definitely kind of feel it in my knees that day. I'm definitely getting old after 18 months of lockdown, not doing a lot of walking about and stuff. My knees were definitely feeling it by the end of the day, and especially as I'd been kind of wandering around theme parks for 3 days prior to that. But yeah, I want to say kind of thanks to everybody that I met there at the weekend. Thank you to the 4 guys I played the games against. I really enjoyed every single game. And just thank you again to Elvis and to Mantic for organising it, and I'd certainly be up for another Armada tournament should one run soon. So yeah, it was really cool. Let's have a little look here and see what folks are saying. Ryan's in the chat that we've just been talking about there. Let's have a look. Walter Pruder, hello, Walter, from South Africa. Says, all your talk about Kings of War has forced me to start it as well. I'm glad I've encouraged you, mate. You won't be sorry. Vincent VT, good evening to you, mate. We've got, Ryan said he voted for Dan's fleet as well. It was stunning. Really like the purple. I actually really like all of the fleets that Dan's painted. He's a hell of a painter. He's really done some really nice stuff. And I think he said he brought the Basileans because that was the one he got finished in time, basically. But all of his fleets are really nicely painted. James is saying he's getting started playing his Vatican starter gang tonight. Nice one. Dave's saying Dan's fleet was impressively painted. I think as well it was Chris. I think was the other one as well. I'm pretty sure it was Chris's fleet. Chris Coburn, and he had, I forget what faction he was running because we never played each other, but it was kind of covered in like tentacles and stuff as well, and I thought it was really nicely themed and really well done, but I felt that Dan's painting kind of edged it out a little bit. Where are we up to here? Scott said it's time to crack on with some painting some 3D printed vehicles for bolt action. Nice one, mate. Hello to John as well. Yeah, I did say hello there, John. And it was really nice to kind of catch up with you, mate. We've never had a chance to kind of meet before, and I think sometimes coming to these events is the only chance I get to meet people. Generally, I played my other 3 games against 3 lads from the northeast who I'd never actually met before. So it was nice to actually be able to meet them, play some games, and then I'll be able to kind of meet up with them again in the future as well. John saying I think an extra turn could have gone either way depending on what was left after the Kraken rampaged. It was a great day all round and nice to meet so many BlackJack. I think you'd have my brain was pretty fried by that point, mate. You were keeping me right, I think, by that point, and I think you probably would have snuck it on a 4th turn. John saying that's right, Martin was 3rd and Sam won. I'm kind of reading that back from the chat after I'd left. I thought that was the case. Dave said he started off well and then the cursed dice arrived. Yeah, you won your first game, didn't you? And I think you managed to not quite win. Let's just say you didn't win the next 3. Vincent said a friend showed me how large the XL ships are. That's quite the big chunk of resin. The Dictator takes more space than an Imperial Chimera. The XL ships are absolutely beautiful as well. They're just really nicely done. All of the ships are nice, but I think the XL ships just get a chance to really kind of show off a lot of kind of detail and stuff. Bit of chat there. Peter says he's still assembling his Death Corps of Krieg, can't decide how to build them. I saw your comment in the chat, mate. I can't help you. I didn't buy the Kill Team set, so I have absolutely no idea. Tony saying Dan's painted himself proud. He did some beautiful work. They were fantastic, yeah. Dr. W. Kruger, he says, good to hear people getting back to tournaments. Got a Dreadball one coming up. Looks like it might be cancelled though. Still, the refunds could pay to start a new system or two. It would be a shame if things get cancelled and stuff, but I completely understand why things do. But yeah, it was nice to get back to playing. John was saying, yeah, Dan was pleased to win Most Brutal. I like the little trophy that he got for that. But yeah, he did really well on the day, and I really enjoyed it. I've never played him before, never met him before. We just had a right good laugh. The dice really went for me in that game as well, and I was unlucky really not to do a bit more damage. I think I set one of his ships on fire like 3 times in a row and was rolling 12s for damage and stuff as well. Peter said he's there he is there as well, just popped in. Nice to see you, Dan. How you doing? So, Peter says he's assembling the second half of his kill team tonight. His kill team terrain is there. I've said it. It's not a forbidden word, mate. I hope everybody who bought kill team's absolutely loving it. Ryan says, yeah, he was lucky with a draw, got a few games. That's what tournaments are about, mate. Everybody gets lucky with the draw. I was lucky really with the draw that I played against people who knew what they were doing, could keep me right as well, so that wasn't too bad. Andy said he needs to paint more rebels to bash Fast Panda in as well. And Ryan said, yeah, definitely most brutal. Even the Kraken was scared. Yeah, nice one. So yeah, it was a fun. Like I say, sorry I didn't get more pictures, but to be fair, I wasn't there really kind of to take pictures. I was just there to have a really good time, and that was what I did. I had a fabulous time. It was nice to see Mantic's HQ looking so good as well. That their shop's looking really, really good now. We got a couple of freebies. We got some Kings of War measuring sticks, which were the acrylic ones, which are really cool. We also got our choice of any factions XL ship as well, although I left mine at Mantic and forgot to pick it up, but that was nice that we all got one. And whilst I was there as well, I picked up a couple of cans of the Colour Forge spray paint. I can't say enough good things about them. I've been super impressed. So I picked up another can of the matte black primer because I'd run out, and I also picked up a can of the white to try as well, because we all know white primer and white spray paints are notoriously not great. So I thought I'd pick up a can of the white to try out as well. So yeah, I'll let you know how they went. Let me have a little look here. Tiberius says, I bought Warcry, so that's a thing. I still love Warcry, mate. Warcry is a fab game. Dancing, he's not too bad. Uncomfortable, but that's to be expected. Yeah, it was my Abyss who set on fire 3 turns. That was the one, mate. It was beautifully painted as well, mate. It was a shame to see it go. And Vincent says, my white primer is terrible. It textures my minis. Yeah, I tend to find that white is really gritty and really bitty, but I've been so impressed with the Colour Forge stuff. I thought I was going to kind of just try the white as well. So I've bought it myself. This hasn't been sent to me or anything like that. I bought it from Mantic, from their store, because they had it in stock. So I'll give you my opinion when I try it. It might be actually a bit of a game changer, because I normally prime my stuff with an airbrush, but when I got the Colour Forge matte black primer, it was so good going over like my Malifaux minis and over my Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff. I just stopped priming with my airbrush, but I was using my airbrush to kind of zenithal highlight them. It kind of just helps pick out the details and stuff. But if I can zenithal highlight and zenithal prime with a white spray can, which is what I want to try it for, I think it's a complete game changer. Yeah, Dan says, really enjoyed our game, though need a rematch sometime. Definitely, mate. 100% we do as well. I might actually remember what I'm doing by then as well. So yeah, so that was the event at the weekend. So I'd encourage anybody, if you're on the fence, there was a lot of folks who went to the event had never played the game before. It was a perfect opportunity to give them a bit of a deadline to get stuff painted, and it was a great way to learn to play the game as well. So yeah, if anybody is kind of thinking about it, I mean, as I've said before in a couple of live streams, research your sort of research the event, research where you're going and stuff. Some events will be super kind of like sort of competitive. Like don't go to Throne of Skulls at Games Workshop for your first tournament type thing. But yeah, I think generally you kind of get a feel for what a community is like. Generally, the Mantic tournaments that I've been to are full of kind of really relaxed folks just going for a few games and some laughs, basically. So yeah, that was that one. Next up, I want to show you, so that I don't forget, this one is, if I press the right buttons, he says, This is a Kickstarter that I just want to kind of make you aware of. I don't normally kind of promote folks as Kickstarters and stuff like that. I certainly never do anything for money and stuff, so nobody's paying me to say these kind of things. But what we've got here this is Beast Rider Wars. Whoops, let me go to the campaign. So this is Beast Rider Wars, and this is from Dead Earth Games. You might remember I did some painting on the stream of Dead Earth Games, which was the Pirates of the Dread Sea a little while ago, and those were all kind of metal cast minis. And what Rich and Dead Earth Games have been doing for a while now is they've been doing some kind of 3D printing STLs, which you can use for the Pirates game, and then they've also got some other games as well. And this is their new one, the Shattered Crown, the Beast Riders War. And I kind of want to give this a bit of a push, really. I mean, it's another kind of small, independent company, really trying to get a foothold, trying to get a little bit of kind of word out there. It's really hard. I know what it's like as a YouTube channel, just trying to kind of promote yourself without feeling like you're kind of constantly sort of like spamming stuff and wanting to try to get involved in communities and things. And it's hard. And I want to just make people aware of this. So this launched this week, or it launched, I think I might have launched at the weekend, but obviously with me being away, I wasn't really kind of keeping an eye on stuff. But it is going until September the 17th, Friday, September the 17th. And it is essentially, it's a print and play fantasy skirmish game. So if you've got a 3D printer and you want a full game with the rules will be a PDF. You can either obviously sort of use them on your laptop or your phone or whatever. You can print them off, and then it's all of the STL files as well to print off the minis that you need for this game. And this is basically, as it says in the title, Beast Rider Wars. It is essentially sort of humans riding beasts as well. So I won't go into too much detail because I want you to go and check it out. I will put a link in the description. I forgot to add it to the video prior to this, but I'll add one at the end of this video. But if you search for sort of Beast Rider Wars on Kickstarter, or just type in Beast Rider Wars Kickstarter into Google, you will find it. There's really one pledge. If you've never used any Dead Earth game stuff before, there's really just the one pledge. It is £50, and you get the complete file, so all the STL files for both factions, and you get basically all of the models. You also get any unlocked stretch goals. You get access to kind of paid add-ons for the future, and you also get the PDF rules. And the estimated delivery is essentially next month. I mean, Rich has pretty much done most of these files. He sent me a few as well, so I can have a look at them. I've not had a chance to print them off myself yet, so I can't really kind of sort of comment and say how good they are or what my personal thoughts are. But certainly the stuff that I've printed off from Rich in the past has always been really good. But yeah, once I get a chance, I guess by the time I get a chance to print these off, the Kickstarter might have closed, so I can't really give you them. But feel free to kind of check it out. There's some really nice sculpts in here, and there's a PDF game in there as well. So basically, it's a full game and full miniatures. If you're into your 3D printing, and we're talking about kind of doing things, kind of keeping the cost down, I don't think £50 is too bad for basically the full game and all of the miniatures. Or all of the files to print all of the miniatures. You can print as many as you need, and it's a skirmish game. There's some fantastic art in there, and there's a bit of a background story as well. So yeah, please do check it out. I'd really appreciate you kind of going and showing it a little bit of love. Sort of check it out on Twitter as well, Dead Earth Games. Excuse me. And give a small startup kind of independent sort of company a little bit of support as well. The big guys get all the love. It's good to kind of to throw a little bit out there as well, and make sure everybody's aware of it. So yeah, so please do check that out. Right, where are we up to here? Tony's saying there as well about Colourforge matte primers in total agreement. It's a real game changer. It does what it says on the tin. Yes it is. Dead Earth Games is saying this is mine. Can confirm I haven't paid him. No, I would never take any payment to kind of promote sort of Kickstarter stuff. Because I'd hate to say, oh, please go and check this out. This is really good. For you to go, well, but you know, he's just being paid to say that kind of thing. So that's why I don't do promotion. So I don't do promotion stuff through the Facebook group, and I generally don't do promotion stuff on here as well, like for that kind of stuff for Kickstarters and stuff. But in this instance, I'm making an exception. Let's have a little look. Vigi says he's still using Vallejo Black with Liquitex white ink and matte varnish for Zenithal, but I do find using a popsicle stick to do 4 or 5 minis at a time, you can get closer to rattle can speed. Yeah, I mean, I must say, if I'm doing a big chunk of them, I think airbrushing is kind of just as fast generally. But when I'm only doing like 1 or 2, so when I'm doing like my Marvel stuff, I'm generally just going to paint 1 mini. Or if I'm doing something for like a Wednesday painting stream, I'm generally just doing 1 or 2 minis. And by the time I kind of set the airbrush up, put the paint in, switch it on, kind of do the bit of priming and then clean it down and put it all away again, it's just as quick just to do it with a rattle can if it goes on as nice as the Colourforge Black does anyway. And Dead of Games saying it launched on Friday. Thank you very much. I tell you what I'll do actually. Have I still got it open there? Yes, I have. I'll pop a link in the chat here because I don't think anybody else can put links in. I don't know whether Christian has or anything like that, but there's a link. I've put a link in the chat there. There we go. Tony saying, yeah, all for indie companies and something a little different. Nice to see you here, yeah. Dan, you are more than welcome, mate. Peter says, I'm fairly sure that's more than £40 though. It is, mate, but we haven't gotten onto the £50, the £40 stuff yet. The £40 stuff I'm going to be talking about are basically like starter sets and stuff, where the £50 for the Kickstarter here is for everything. It's not just for a starter set, it's for everything. Dan says, I've seen this Kickstarter advertised on Facebook a lot the last few days. Well, it's good to see the paid advertising's working for it in that case, mate. Yeah, there's some cool looking models. And Rich, you're more than welcome, mate, at any time. Busey saying, looks great. I backed the Pirates of Dread Sea and it was a fantastic deal. James says, if the matte white Colourforge is good, I'll stock up, I think. I just prime black with a white Zenithal, so would be good. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, mate. Like, I'll use the airbrush for kind of coloured primers and stuff like that. I don't want to be buying loads of kind of different coloured primers for doing bits and pieces, but just for doing basic sort of black and white, I think these could be just speed things up a bit, really. Christian sharing the link there for the BlackJack merch as well. Thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate it. So yeah, so that's that. What was the next thing I want to talk about? Local gaming group. Let me get the details up because I don't want to get it wrong. Basically, that's why I want to get the details up in front of me. If I can find it, so it'll be. It was messages sent to me. There's a couple of people who've mentioned this to me, and like I say, because I've been basically here it is. Because I've basically been away on holiday and stuff, I'm just kind of catching up with stuff now. So let me go to here. So if you are based in and around the Northeast, there is a gaming group called the Whitley Bay 3D Gamers, and I appreciate that's not the biggest on that screen, but it's as big as it's going to get. Whitley Bay 3D Gamers, they meet unsurprisingly in Whitley Bay at the Masonic Lodge, and they're basically struggling to get folks to come along. Since lockdowns opened up and stuff, their numbers have dropped off a little bit, and they're struggling for members a little bit at the moment. There's a couple of people who've kind of sort of mentioned this to me. One was somebody in Facebook, and I never got a chance to reply to it because I had an awful signal. I forget who it was now. And then I also got tagged in this one by Matt Hart, who basically owns Steamforge Games as well, asking if I would kind of mention anything. And he's also said he would send some God tier starter sets over to kind of help the group out as well, which I thought was a really kind offer. And essentially, basically, I think it costs them like £50 a week to rent the hall. Their fees are £4 a week for the gaming group, and they're essentially getting like 8 or 9 people at the moment, which is just not enough to keep it going. They've got a little bit of sort of funds saved up, which will get them through until January, but if the numbers don't go up, then come January it'll fold. I don't know a lot about the group. I've never been myself. I don't really know what kind of games they play, but I'm sure if you're local to the area and you're looking for somebody somewhere else to play, I'm not even sure what night they meet. There doesn't say a lot in the information, but yeah, please check it out. It says that there's something where it says they had a meeting, which I assume was their normal meetings. Check it out anyway. If you're local to the Northeast and you're looking for another gaming club, please do check this out. And if you can support it, if it's on your doorstep, or if they play the games you want to play, please do check them out. So yeah, that was. Let me get one back to that one as well. Dan saying he doesn't have a 3D printer. Peter says, I see my search for €50 starter game. Got your gears grinding for a stream. Do you know what it is, mate? I actually forgot you'd mentioned that the other week. I forgot about that. But yeah, perfect timing in that case. Although I know you've bought a lot of stuff now. Peter saying the Pirates of the Dead Sea minis impressed me muchly and among the best looking I've painted over 2 nights. Nice one, mate. And yeah, Rich is saying there as well, keep an eye on the Dead Earth Games Facebook group, and they're hoping to get some print runs done after the Kickstarter. Driz78 says, I live in Whitley Bay. There you go then, Driz. Perfect. Right on your doorstep, mate, at the Masonic Lodge. Like I say, I don't know any of the folks that kind of run the group. I'm not affiliated with it at all. I don't know what kind of games they play, but if you're looking for a gaming group, and there's one on your doorstep, mate. That's so. Busey saying, do you have to be in the Masons? I think the Masonic lodges generally just kind of rent their space out, because obviously must be expensive buildings to upkeep, I'd imagine. Lee Burns says, cool, cheers Andy, I might have a look. I'm from Whitley Bay myself and just started to get into some historical stuff, which seems to be what they're into. That's what I thought, judging by the pictures that they have on their Facebook group, mate. But I must admit, it's I don't know a lot about the group. Just saying, yeah, I'll have a look and see if they play the games I have. The other side of it as well is, I mean, if they don't play the games that you have, but you're looking for somewhere to go and play, that's also a good alternative as well. So we've got a decent number in now. I think what I'm going to do is we will go on and we will talk about tonight's topic. So if I can just rearrange my chat sizes a little bit, so I can keep my notes up, and I can also get on with this. So, yes, folks, tonight we're going to be talking about 5 miniatures games that you can purchase for under £40. Obviously, I'm talking in sort of British pounds today. I'm not talking in dollars or US dollars or Australian dollars or euros or anything. But certainly if they're this price in the UK, if you search around for your local shops and your local markets and stuff, you'll be able to pick them up locally for a similar price. And what's kind of sparked this off really is, I guess, people just sometimes. Not everybody's looking to spend £100 on a new game, or they're not looking to kind of buy an army for £200 or something like that. They want something a little bit different. They may be quite heavily invested in one game but want a little side game to play, or maybe they just want something different to play, maybe something different to paint. So I thought I'd do a little bit of digging, and I've come up with these 5 games that are available for under £40. I've also got some honourable mentions as well that didn't quite make the list for a number of reasons. And I'll come on to them as well, so stay tuned to see what those ones are. So the first one I'm going to tell you about is Carnivale by TT Combat. So this one has a recommended retail price of £35. If you purchase it from Goblin Gaming, there's an affiliate link in the description of this video. You can pick it up for £28. Now I think that is fantastic value, and is potentially, even though I've started with this one, is potentially the best value 2-player starter set I've seen. There's two 2-player starter sets available for Carnivale. One of them is slightly bigger, and that one I think is only priced at something like about £58. It comes with more miniatures. It comes with a bigger sort of like the hardback rulebook, or I don't know if it's hardback, but certainly like with much more lore and background and stuff in as well. But this one basically, the box contains everything that's for 2 players to dip their toes in. It comes with 2 small gangs, the Guild and Rashar. There's a full 48-page rulebook included. It explains all of the lore and the rules for the game, as well as a campaign to play through. And it says everything in this set is designed to get you playing quickly. It's got single-piece resin models, so you don't even have anything to build. They're all single. Well, you'll have to clip them, I suppose, but they're single-piece resin models. It also comes with some cardboard scenery as well, and a map there as well. So as you can see on the picture, everything you see there is included. There's even sort of some obstacles like a bridge and a gondola. There's a double-sided 2x2 fold-out paper mat, so you can play your game on it. There's dice, there's range rulers, there's quick reference cards. I got a chance to do a demo of this game at the UK Games Expo and was really, really impressed with the game. It's not a competitive game, and I wouldn't say it was the most simple game in the world either. It's not difficult, but it's not basic. However, the miniatures look really nice. The game is very much. It reminded me of like a kind of sort of a skirmish game, D&D, like a role-playing game type thing, because there was a lot of kind of just like, well, I want to climb up this building, I want to jump across, like, do you think I'd be able to do it? And you're kind of agreeing with your opponent and stuff. It's really, really thematic as well. So the kind of the idea is it's basically set like in 1793, a great calamity hit the world. The rent in the sky tore apart the heavens, destroying most of Italy and flooding Europe. Only one place survived mysteriously unscathed, and that was Venice, which is where this game is set. In the years since, the floating city has become a beacon of hope and trade. Even as the rent gazes balefully down, putting the city into a permanent twilight, the residents have changed and adopted to a new world, a world of magic and monsters. So if you're looking for something a little bit more unusual, something sort of a bit different to everything else, this is definitely one that is worth checking out. And like I say, for £28, I can honestly say I think this is potentially the best value 2-player starter set. It comes with a mat, it comes with some terrain. Even though it's only card terrain, it still makes the game look great. And it's a good place to start. It comes with 8 miniatures, 4 per side for the 2 factions, and it comes with a rule book as well, which is full colour and also kind of gives you sort of like some of the background lore and story as well. So yeah, that's the first one. The second one, he says, looking for the right button, is also from TT Combat, and it is Rumble Slam. So yeah, Rumble Slam is a slight cheeky one. It's got a recommended retail price of £45. However, it's available all over the place online with discounts, and if you again shop through my affiliate link at Goblin Games, this will drop down to £38.26. So yeah, Rumble Slam is basically a fantasy wrestling game. Again, it comes with everything you need for 2 players to get started. It basically includes the 2nd edition rulebook, so the game has been updated a little bit from the 1st edition, which I've got. And I've played and really enjoy the game. And it also comes with 2 wrestling teams. I'm going to butcher these now by trying to remember the names of them. One is the Heavy Pounders, which is kind of humans and orcs and halflings, and the other one, not orcs, sorry, humans and, well, there might be an orc in that as well. And the other ones are kind of orcs and goblins, and it is the Green Menace, I think it is. They're resin single-piece miniatures, so you just a little bit of clean-up and then stick them to their bases and you're done. It also comes with all of the tokens, it comes with the cards, the stat cards, it also comes with a neoprene wrestling mat as well. And as with the, both of these games from TT Combat, there's a lot of opportunity to expand out from those starter sets. However, what I would say with these games and with everything I'm going to talk about tonight, everything you need to play is in the box, and should you just want to treat it like a board game and just buy these starter boxes and not buy anything else for them, you can absolutely play them as just what you get inside the box. Somebody's just saying there, yeah, it's the human ogre model that you're thinking of. That is what I'm thinking of, mate. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's an ogre model and it's orcs and goblins on the other side. Thank you very much, Ian. It just says, yeah, with an emphasis on fast gameplay that gets you stuck into the fight immediately, you'll find loads of moves and inspirations taken directly from the squared circle, from bouncing off the ropes all the way to getting sponsored by Coca-Cola and summoning the power of the crowd. Rumble Slam is designed for quick and intense matches on a small board, perfect for playing at the end of a game's night or in the pub. So yes, it is. Somebody else is just saying here as well, that cover art to Rumble Slam is so 80s. The whole thing feels 80s. If you're kind of my era maybe, or a little bit younger, and you remember Hulk Hogan and all of the WWF stuff, and kind of Ultimate Warrior, there's some really cool kind of models in this, and there's some nice little nods back to kind of some of those wrestling days. Again, I've got the original starter set. I've done a review of it on my channel. You'll be able to search for that one. There's a little bit of an update to it, but it hasn't changed too much. And again, it's another one of them games that I think for less than £40 is a fantastic way to play something a little bit different. Yeah, Ian's just saying here, Randy Savage and The Undertaker and Ric Flair. There's almost kind of like sort of models have been sculpted based upon them kind of things as well. I think I've got an Undertaker model, and I think he's called like the Grave Robber or something like that. Right, next one up. is a game that I have, and again a game that I've played, so I can recommend it to you, and it is Star Wars X-Wing. This is the second edition, now by Atomic Mass Games, originally by Fantasy Flight Games. Recommended retail price is £39.99, and again, if you click through my affiliate link to Goblin Gaming, you can pick it up for £31.99. The game has been around for quite a while now, but the second edition probably for a couple of years now, and in this starter set, again, you get everything you need to be able to play the game, and if you love the game, you can of course expand and go on from there. There's a few things that sets this one apart a little bit. One is obviously it's the Star Wars license. The second thing is that all of the miniatures are pre-painted as well. So this second edition core game comes with one pre-painted, pre-assembled plastic X-Wing miniature and two pre-painted, pre-assembled plastic TIE fighters as well. It comes with all the maneuver templates, the dials, the cards, the dice, and all of the rules that you need to get started. And again, this is a game that can become quite competitive if you really get into it. It can become quite expensive if you get into it as well. There's a lot of ships out there that you can buy. However, again, if you're just looking for something as a little side game, if you're looking for something that you want to play with maybe some younger players, or just something kind of just because you fancy a bit of a change, you can still play this starter set and just have some fun games. I picked up the first edition of Star Wars X-Wing miniatures game with my son many years ago now, back at UK Games Expo. We took it back to the hotel that night. We played it on the carpet of the hotel floor. We played it pretty much all night. Absolutely loved it. And the next day we basically bought another starter set because it was good value and got a few more ships to play with. And we bought a Slave One and we bought a Millennium Falcon. And we never bought anything more for the game. We just enjoyed playing with those ships, just flying them around and kind of playing it like a board game kind of thing. And we absolutely loved it. We never invested any more money. We never bought anything else. And we absolutely just love playing it like that. So it is possible to play these games without getting sucked in and kind of like feeling the need to spend £200-300 on extra armies or extra ships or whatever. So yeah, anyone that says that you can't, I would imagine they're just more into kind of sort of expanding their hobby stuff as opposed to just kind of playing the game for what it is. Next up, the fourth one we're going to be talking about is Warhammer Underworlds. Now, Warhammer Underworlds has like kind of seasons and stuff, and there's a new season coming soon. However, there is a 2-player starter set for Warhammer Underworlds. And this 2-player starter set by Games Workshop, of course, is recommended to be £40 recommended retail price. And again, if you buy through my affiliate link at Goblin Gaming, it is £32. So again, it's well under the £40 mark there as well. Inside this starter set, you basically get a 36-page Learn to Play rulebook. You get the complete Storm of Celestis warband, which is a Stormcast Eternal warband. You get 4 push-fit plastic models, which are coloured plastic as well, so you can tell the two apart. You get the fighter cards and a number of warband specific cards, and then you also get the Dreeper Wraith Creepers warband, which are a Nighthaunt warband. Again, there's 4 of the models in there as well. They're plastic models, push fit models as well, so very easy to clip out and assemble. You get 2 double-sided fold-out game boards, so it means that you can kind of expand from this game into playing into the kind of like I wouldn't say the full scale because the game is exactly the same, but you can expand into kind of the tournament scene or playing with other factions and all that kind of stuff. This is a great way to get started. It comes with all of the tokens that you need, any objectives, any wound markers, glory points. It comes with 8 dice as well, which are 5 attack dice and 3 defense dice. Now the specific kind of season starter boxes that come out are generally around £50 recommended retail price, and there's a new one coming out soon. It wouldn't surprise me if it's like 55 or 60 this time around with the way prices are increasing. But again, if you just want something, you're going to get 8 models in here, which are plastic push fit, super quick to put together. You get everything you need to be able to play the game. If you just want to treat it like a board game, you just want to have something to paint, something a little bit different, you want to introduce somebody to miniature gaming, I think this is fantastic value. And again, for £32, getting the 2 boards in there as well, because I think there's basically like a stripped down version called, is it Champions of Dreadfane it might be called. And again, it's a little bit cheaper, but you only get 1 board in. The game itself is actually stripped down to play on just 1 board. I think this is a far better value entry into the game. And again, if you do enjoy it, you can always kind of take a step up and kind of buy more kind of warbands and bring them into your game and stuff as well. So yeah, that one is £32. And the last one, the fifth one on the list, is God Tier by Steamforged Games. And again, I've got this, I've played this game, really do enjoy it as well. It is £40 recommended retail price, so it still kind of fits in with that £40 limit even at full price. But Goblin Gaming don't sell this game, but I found a price on Zatu Games which was £27.49 with it, which is fantastic value as well. This is the Borderlands box. There's two different starter sets. They both are like two-player starter sets, but the way the game plays is you can have up to basically 3 champions per player with all of their followers. And the idea is if you buy this starter box, you can play the one champion versus one champion against your opponent. If you buy the second starter box, you could then play 2 champions against 2 champions. And then you can buy expansions, which are basically one champion and their followers for the different expansions. However, I found when I was getting started with this game, one starter box was enough to just get the basics of the game, to understand how it plays, and it's still a lot of fun just playing with kind of one champion versus one champion. If you want to get into all the different synergies and kind of grow in the game, you can of course sort of expand from there. But don't write this off as something that you have to expand. It's actually a really fun game just playing it with what's exactly in that starter box. So you get 12 sort of pre-coloured, and when I say pre-coloured, they're coloured plastic, pre-assembled miniatures. There is absolutely nothing to build when you buy this game. You basically get one champion called Finvar and 3 of Finvar's followers, and you get another champion called Titus, and his 5 Glory Seeker followers. You get some little plastic banners as well, which basically mark things in the games. You get a double-sided battle mat. You get 10 dice. You get 24 objective hexes. You get profile cards. You get 3 dashboards, and you get 85 tokens. There's absolutely nothing that you need to do. If you buy this game, it's almost treated like a miniature, like a board game. You just take everything out and you can start playing. I think it's fantastic value. I've got pretty much nearly everything for this game now. I went in and bought a lot more stuff. I would love to play this game more. Obviously lockdown and stuff kind of put pay to that a little bit, but yeah, as a game, if you're just looking for something a bit different, the miniatures are great quality. If you want to paint them, they're obviously not up there with kind of like sort of Games Workshop or Weird stuff or anything like that, or the new Mantic resins and things. They're not up there with that kind of quality, but for single piece plastic miniatures, they are more than good enough. So yeah, the other starter set is called the Eternal Glade. You get different champions in that one. So yeah, there's another one you can choose from as well, but I think at £27.49 you're getting a hell of a lot of game in that box for that price. So yeah, so those are the main 5. I'll also tell you about some of my honourable mentions as well, I should say. On the list, and is always on these kind of lists, is Walking Dead All Out War by Mantic Games. It's a recommended retail price of £50, and it was £40 on the Goblin Gaming site. I have seen this at like kind of like at events for like £25 and stuff as well, at like UK Games Expo when Troll Trader have their big sales and things. So it's worth keeping an eye out for it. But the reason it's not on this list is that it's not under £40. That's the only reason I didn't put it on the list. But I think it's an honourable mention. If you can find it cheap elsewhere, if you can get it for under £40, it's absolutely fantastic value. I think it's good value at 50, or it's good value at 40 to be fair. But I backed this at Kickstarter, and I've pretty much got everything for the game. Absolutely love it. It's the game that got me started in YouTube. So yeah, I'll always have good things to say about it. Next one on the list was World of Tanks by Gale Force 9. Recommended retail price for this one is $34.99. Travelling Man actually had it in for $26.99. If anybody has played the original Battlefront game Tanks, this is essentially the exact same game, except it's now been rebranded, and it is it's kind of linked with the World of Tanks video game. I've not played it, so I can't really kind of sort of recommend it as something that I've kind of played and enjoyed. And it also used to be much cheaper when it didn't have the World of Tanks branding either. That's that's the only reason really why I haven't put it on the list here. I can't recommend it because I haven't played it, but if you're looking for something a bit more World War II, a bit less science fiction, or a bit less fantasy, this is another one that's worth checking out. Another one on the list is the BattleTech Beginner Box. This has a recommended retail price of £19.99, which I think is probably it's probably the cheapest one I saw on the list. And if I looked around to see where else you could pick it up a bit cheaper. Zatu Games had it for £16.67. Again, I've not played it. Every time I do one of these kind of great games for beginners into miniature gaming or something, or sort of cheap games or games under £50, somebody always comes in the comments and goes, "What about BattleTech? I'm surprised BattleTech wasn't there." And I always say the same thing. I've never played it. I don't know anything about it. It's not necessarily a game I've been hugely interested in myself, but there is a huge audience for it, so it can't be all bad. But I've not played it, so it didn't really make the list for me this time. Another one to add is Judge Dredd by Warlord Games. Recommended retail price of £50, but again, Zatu actually had this in a sale for £36.49. So well below that £40 mark again. Judge Dredd, I used to love the Judge Dredd comics when I was a kid, and it kind of still has a bit of a soft spot in my heart, but I've never played the game. I've never picked this up, so again, I can't really recommend it as something I've really enjoyed, or how the game plays, or what the quality of the miniatures is like. But again, price wise, it is it's absolutely bang on it in this level. So if you're kind of coming from a similar age profile as me again, and you remember the old 2000 AD comics, this might be something that's right up your street. Another one as well, a little bit left field, and again, if the fantasy stuff isn't your thing, and you're not into sci-fi, you're not into kind of any of that kind of stuff, Black Seas by Warlord Games, which is the Master and Commander box set. This is the 2-player starter set for Black Seas. Recommended retail price is £56. However, again, Zatu Games had it available for £36.49. It's essentially pretty much the same game as I was talking about before, is about Kings of War Armada. Kings of War Armada is based upon the Black Seas rules. They have basically simplified them a little bit, Mantic have simplified them a little bit, and they have also obviously made it kind of like fantasized it for Kings of War. But what I would say is that I personally prefer the Kings of War rules, the Kings of War Armada rules. However, this is half the price of the Kings of War Armada starter set, which I think is about £70. So if you're really looking for a naval combat game, maybe something a little bit more historical, this might be something worth checking out. And then, of course, I couldn't talk about any kind of sort of cheap games, if you like, or games under £40 without mentioning all of those miniature agnostic games that are out there. If I don't mention it, that'll be the first thing that comes up in the comments. There are so many games out there. If you've already got loads of miniatures and you're just looking for a new game to play, things like one-page rules, things like Zone Alpha, things like Gaslands, all those kind of things that basically where you can play with miniatures you already own. However, tonight I've concentrated on basically being able to buy something like a 2-player starter set that has everything in it to allow you to start playing straight away. And that's the reason why I've not really talked about them. But yeah, if you've got a load of miniatures and you're not looking to add to that collection, but you're looking for a new way to use the ones you've got, please do check out some of those miniature agnostic games that are out there. So I'm sure there must be loads more as well that I've missed out. I'm sure there's plenty that I've never spoke about tonight. If there is, and I've missed out your favourite, please let me know in the comments or put them in the chat here for the live stream tonight. And let's take a look at those ones as well. So that's what I've got. That was the ones I came up with tonight. I'm going to go back and have a look through the chat here and see if I'd missed any kind of any good bits of chat. There's plenty of chat here about where are we up to here. Scott's saying he used to game at Whitley Beer. It was mostly historical, so there you go, mate. I'm not fully aware of it. 4251 still made me chuckle. Yeah, I know what you mean about that. We were talking today in the Patreon group where somebody was saying about there was another game that was like £42 or something. Was it £42.50? And they were saying, yeah, but saying a game, sort of 5 miniatures games under £42.51 isn't quite as catchy. Michael saying he almost bought this the other day. I'm assuming we're talking about Carnivale, where we're talking about that one. Dr. W. Kruger says, as a dead zoner, I have to respect a 2 foot by 2 foot play space. 28 quid for a starter set with resin figures, no less. A serious bargain. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Dead Zone as well, mate. There was a couple of reasons I didn't include Dead Zone in the list today. One is it's slightly over the £40 mark, although you can sometimes pick it up for less than that. And the second reason is I think we're starting to get some teasers that there might be some new stuff coming. So I wouldn't want to recommend people picking up an older version if there's a new one on the horizon. G-Man says, sadly, most of the Carnivale models on the website might check out my local store and see if I have a chance. This is one of the things as well with these kind of games is generally the cheaper games don't get the distribution that they deserve, really, and you tend to have to go through the manufacturer or maybe go through kind of an online retailer. You might want to support your local store with kind of like your main purchases, but some of these maybe slightly more kind of unknown ones might not always be available locally. Scott saying, yeah, I've got both of those. Tiberius, thing about card terrain buildings is their templates if you're into making your own. There is that as well, mate. Yeah, I think Carnivale is definitely a game that it benefits from having really nice looking tables and being able to kind of climb up buildings and jump around and stuff. And I think TT Combat realised that, which is why they've put all of that kind of card terrain in the box. But to get 8 resin minis, the card terrain, the paper mat, all of the tokens, the rulers, the dice and everything else, the rule book for 28 quid, I mean even £35 at retail price, I think it's still probably the best value starter set out there. To get the terrain and everything is just, I don't think there's a better starter set out there for the price. Dan saying there's a Cactus Man model I've seen for this. It looks fantastic. Yeah, I saw it at the UK Games Expo, mate. It's really, really nice. Mini Wormwood says WrestleMania. That's exactly the kind of stuff that it is, mate. Christian saying to grab yourself, I should say, BlackJack Legacy merch. The link there. Thank you very much, mate, for sharing that. Ian saying there, the Rock one is cool in the Scorpion King. Tiberius saying Randy Savage is a fantastic name. Dr. Kruger there saying he painted a Rumble Slam starter for a client a couple of years back. Very nice figures. Super easy to clean up resin too. I found the resin from TT Combat has been really, really crisp, really clean. Quite smooth as well, randomly. I don't know why it's any different, but yeah, quite smooth. John Smith there is John Ashley Smith says good afternoon from South Ontario. Good afternoon to you, mate. Mark Berracloth, good evening to you as well, mate. He says first edition brought me back into the hobby. Great game. I think we're talking about Rumble Slam there as well. Ed says, I wish Rumble Slam had done World of Sport wrestlers, Big Daddy, Giant Haystacks, Kendo, Nagasaki and the classics. I must admit I've not kept up to date with some of the stuff that they've covered, but it wouldn't surprise me if they've got something like that. If they haven't got them yet, I can't imagine that they're far off being done. Walter Black says, I never got into XWing because it was pre-painted. The hobby aspect is very important to me, almost more important than the actual game. I think it is to a lot of folks, mate, but I think where XWing succeeded is it picked up a lot of that card game crowd. So folks that had played a lot of Magic or a lot of Netrunner or that kind of stuff, who were maybe looking to get into miniatures games but just weren't interested in the hobby at all. I think it picked up the crowd coming the other way. It's a great game. I like XWing. There's nothing wrong with the game itself. And actually, it was quite nice to have something that I could just pick up and play and didn't have to worry about painting every time I bought something. So yeah, like I say, my son at the time was probably around 11, 12, maybe something like that. And he wasn't interested in the hobby side of things. So it was a nice change for us too. Wayne Hayward says, started in tabletop gaming with XWing when 2nd edition came in. Still my main game and not bored of it yet. Yeah, great game. Can get expensive if you're kind of wanting to chase the meta and sort of build out all the different stuff and keep up with releases and things. But as I said in the main kind of chat, it's a game that you can just play with a few ships as well. Glenn Griffin saying, really great point. You can definitely dip your toe in with some games and still get a lot of enjoyment. I think it's funny, like, people who are into board games will buy a board game and then just enjoy it as that self-contained box and maybe never feel the need to buy anything else. There might be some expansions come out down the line and they might decide to buy an expansion or something, but generally people will just enjoy a board game for the board game experience. But I think when it comes to miniature gamers, it's almost like the minute you've bought something, we're almost looking for the next thing to buy. So what's coming out? When's the expansion coming out? When's the new faction coming out? When's there more coming out? When's there more? And sometimes I think people enjoy the hobby aspect and forget that actually they bought a game as well, and don't always actually enjoy the game to its fullest. I mean, a perfect example is kind of like, we've been talking about Armada there earlier on. I played sort of scenarios I'd never played before at the tournament at the weekend, and it really changes the way the game plays. It's a completely different game when you change the scenario. And so, yeah, sometimes just, you know, if you're tempted to dip your toe into a miniatures game because you fancy painting a few models, you don't always have to kind of go overboard. You can sometimes, especially with the ones I've just recommended tonight, you can just play with what you have. You might want to expand it in the future, but don't feel like you always have to. Peter says, yeah, I only ever played with ships from the original trilogy. It's great fun. John says, when XWing came out, I think I was still stuck on the Axis and Allies collectible miniatures game, both the land version and War at Sea. I didn't realise there were Axis and Allies games. Ed says, where XWing, where even the most hardened tryhards of tournaments make pew-pews and tie engine screams as they play. Love the game so much. Tyler Peck, good evening, Tyler. He says, I love Underworlds. Actually just finished painting the minis from this set. There you go. Perfect. Rich from Dead Earth Games there saying, Underworlds is my favourite GW game. I've kind of got mixed feelings about it. I really enjoyed playing Underworlds when I just kind of had a pre-built deck that kind of came with the faction. But as soon as I had to try and start building decks for the game, I kind of lost a bit of interest. But that was kind of back in the Shadespire days. What's happened now is if you buy a new faction now, when the new factions come out, they come with a pre-built deck that you can use. However, you can then go and kind of build a deck your own way. So it's kind of come full circle again, really. But again, I think it's a game where you don't have to kind of expand it. If you're playing it like a board game, if you're playing it with kids at home, or you're just playing, if you just got a friend who you play a few kind of casual games with, I think it's a fab game to play at that level. I'm not really personally interested in kind of playing at that tournament level, or that really kind of fine minutiae of kind of getting all the cards you need to build certain decks. But just as an entry game, as an intro game, as something that you can just play out of the box, I think it's fantastic. Mark said, I have Shadespire and the Warbands, still really like it. Yeah, I still play kind of Shadespire now and again, just with what I have. Dan Kennedy says, God Tier is one I wouldn't mind picking up at some point. I'm happy to have a game with you, Dan. Like I say, I've got pretty much everything for the game. It's a game that basically, it's a bit like Underworlds in the fact that it's kind of hex-based combat, but it's more scenario-driven, and there is no deck building. Essentially, you can just pick any kind of champion and their followers and just use them. There's no factions. If you want to kind of just pick up all the ones you like, you can use them together. There's no kind of restrictions to which ones you can use. And again, the different missions, the different kind of scenarios makes you play the game in different ways. And I just find it's really interesting. It kind of just come out at a time where it was kickstarted, and then I don't think Steamforged Games talked about it very much. And then lockdown came along, and I think it's just had a bit of a bad time with timings, really. But it doesn't change it being a fantastic game. Dr. Kruger there saying, yeah, loved Underworld for a year or two, but ever pricier expansions with the treadmill effect of entire seasons being invalidated every year forces a big buy-in to stay competitive. I agree with you. If you're in the competitive scene, you kind of have to stay relevant, but I'm not really talking about it from a competitive aspect tonight. There's no need to buy in and kind of be relevant if you're just playing it as a miniatures game at home type thing. Scott says, I have both starters and loads of the faction warbands for it. Yeah, I remember you saying, mate, yeah. We'll definitely have the sort of game at some point. Tyler says, I just got to the show. Can someone tell me what came before Underworlds and God Tier? So the games I had, mate, I'll very quickly go through them all. So we had Carnivale by TT Combat, which was £28 for a two-player starter set. We had Rumble Slam, which is a £38.26, and we had XWing, which was £31.99 for the starter. And then we had Underworlds, and then we had God Tier. So those were the 5 I went through, mate. If you go down to the description of this video, I've got links to click through, which take you through to my affiliate link if you want to kind of check them out. I would appreciate it. It doesn't cost you any more, but I get a small kind of commission for sending you that way. Yeah, please do check them out. I'm scrolling down here looking for the ones. Yeah, Tyler says issue of Underworld is essentially every year a previous edition gets erased, other than warband specific. It does within the competitive scene, and I can understand why that's the case, because it's a bit like sort of Magic the Gathering in that respect. However, it doesn't invalidate the game. The game is still, like, if you've bought stuff, you can still play that stuff with people. It's a bit like saying, oh well, like 9th edition come out for 40k, so I can't play 8th edition anymore. Technically, you can play 8th edition forever and a day if you want. It doesn't. Nobody comes along and takes that stuff away from you. But I appreciate if you're into the competitive stuff, if you play with a big group or whatever, then maybe you do have to kind of keep going. But I'm not really talking about that stuff tonight, really. Dan says, I picked up All Out War on Saturdays, one of my prizes. Managed to read through the rules today. Going to give the solo play a go tomorrow. I quite enjoy playing it solo play, to be fair. There's not many games I do enjoy playing solo, but that is one of them, actually. Wayne says, World of Tanks is good too. Superb models that can be painted. X-Wing style, but new tanks are £10. Recommended price, nice and cheap. Yeah, it's not too expensive, mate. Like I say, the only reason I've not recommended it is it's I've not played it to kind of to pass comment on it, really. And yeah, it's just a shame that when it went World of Tanks over when it was just called Tanks. I think when it was called Tanks, the starter set was about 15 quid. So the starter set has kind of jumped up in price with the new kind of the new sort of theming and like, but it's still cheap. Let's not get away from it. Spiderlord says, sadly Battletech is well out of stock at the minute. Catalyst are struggling to keep up with demand. Lots of 40k players jumping on. I keep hearing this. I can't see why that's attractive to 40k players. Scott says, at the moment I only need 2 of the games on the list. Oh no, 3 now. Tiberius is saying the Dread Minis quality is stunning. I remember seeing them when I went to Warlord Games, and I saw the kind of the pro painters there painting them for the photographs and stuff, for the box art and things. But I've never had my hands on the actual ones myself. So again, I like the idea of a Judge Dredd game. I've just never seen it myself to kind of recommend it. Minis are a weird squeaky resin. I didn't even know they were resin. I think I assumed that they'd be metal from Warlord. Right, where are we up to here? That jumped ahead a little bit. Let me scroll back, because that just massively jumped out of my hand. Where are we up? Oh, there we are. We're back now. Dave Mackay says you can use the models from Black Sails for Armada as well as the Kingdom of Men. You can do, mate. Yeah, you've got to buy the stat card separately, but you certainly can. Wayne Hayward says Dread and Strontium Dog. I have too. Great fun. Lord Maiden said Dead Zone and Dreadball. They're both over 40 quid, mate. That was the reason that they're not in there. They're both over £40. I did look, because I would have recommended Dreadball. I also would have recommended I was looking at Overdrive as well, which is coming out soon, but it again is more than £40. It's £50 RRP. Cheapest I could find it online was £42.50. So it didn't make the cut for the £40 limit, but it doesn't make them bad games. If you want to spend a little bit more, I'd still recommend those games. And I think I mentioned Dead Zone as well, didn't I? That basically there's a lot of teasing coming out from Manic at the moment, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend picking up the old version, if you like, if there's some changes afoot. Tiberius says Dead Man's Hand, Great Escape. The starter set is bang on £40. Again, mate, not games I know much about, but yeah, I'm sure those will be the ones that'll come up. Excuse me, I've got really bad wind tonight. I'm sure those are the ones that'll come up in the chat and stuff. Christian sharing a link there as well for Goblin Gaming. Thank you very much, mate. James is saying a couple of Carnivale bits. The book in the bigger starter is not hardback, but is huge. Yeah, I think when I said hardback, I think I then went, yeah, actually I don't think it is. It's just much bigger, isn't it? I remember seeing both of them at UK Games Expo. It's just much bigger, isn't it? Let's have a look. Jim said the Carnivale starters can be combined, the same 2 factions but not crossovers. Yes, so the 2 different starters for Carnivale. If you buy the smaller one and find that you like it, you can buy the bigger starter as well. And the models are from the same faction, but they're not the same model, so you're kind of just expanding the 2 factions. The what they're called, the guild, and the other one, I forget the name now. Peter says, of the 5 you mentioned, Rumble Slam would be my pick. Already own X-Wing. Scott says, I only need to buy X-Wing Judge Dredd, but I'll never buy Shadespire. I have every other mentioned game from both under 40 quid list and honourable mentions. There you go, mate. James saying the TT Combat Carnivale minis do go out of stock, but they seem to come back into stock from time to time. All of the Carnivale miniatures are made by TT Combat. They have their own resin production, so I guess it's just a case of waiting for them to come back round and kind of recast some. So maybe it's a good sign. Maybe it means it's starting to sell a bit better now. VG says Blitzball is the best game under £40 if you can get it. Yeah, it's certainly not £40 if you're trying to get it in the UK, that's for sure. It might cost you over £40 just to get it shipped. Rich from Dead Earth Games is saying, here you go, whilst Andy was talking, I've created a 2-player starter set for Pirates of the Dread Sea for £40. There you go and check out Pirates of the Dread Sea at Dead Earth Games. He's just put a nice little £40 starter set together. Somberlin says Rumble Slam sounds exactly like the game for a friend who lost interest in the hobby. Maybe I get it for his birthday. Honestly, it's just really good fun. It's just like a bit, it's not competitive, like you're not going to go to a Rumble Slam tournament, I wouldn't say. TT Combat makes some nice MDF like wrestling rings as well that you can buy to really kind of pimp out your game a little bit. In fact, let me get the Rumble Slam website up so that you can see the miniatures in a little bit more detail. So if I go to here, you should be able to see these now. Of course, we've got all that stuff down the side, but so yeah, there's things like these. We've got these table ladders, chairs, expansion and stuff. These are the kind of the luxury kind of rings and stuff that you can get. So this is the MDF wrestling ring. This one has storage underneath as well to put your bits and pieces in, and that's what it looks like with it. So you can either paint it or you can put the little neoprene mat on that you get in the starter set. And then obviously from a wrestling point of view, it says sold out on the TT Combat site, but it is available online at other places. Yeah, there's a cheaper ring there as well for £16. There's this guy who's he's a pinata, which is pretty cool. So that gives you an idea of some of the kind of like the randomness that's in this stuff. This is Peyote Pete. This is the cactus I think Dan was talking about. These are some of the new stuff. Wanted, hugs please, it says on his top, which is pretty cool. And then we've got see if I can find some of the more kind of like wrestling inspired. There's the Scorpion King, the rock one there as well. It gives you an idea of just what they're like. It can obviously fit in with some of these different wrestling factions. Nice models. What else we got as well? You can obviously buy actual full wrestling teams as well. You don't have to just buy these kind of as single minis. Let's have a look and see if there's anything else that kind of stands out a little bit. I quite like these guys as well. Kind of drunk Mexican skeletons, which are pretty nice, called Cabala. I can't even pronounce it. But yeah, I remember seeing this one in the booth at UK Games Expo as well. It was a really nice mini. So yeah, that kind of gives you an idea of the type of stuff that you can see from this. I'll see if I can just find any of the kind of like the ones based upon kind of well-known wrestlers, shall we say. I'll see if I can find any of those particular ones while we're looking. But yeah, it's a fun game. It's just got some. It's kind of got some unusual stuff. As I'm looking here, there's kind of werewolves, there's mummies. We've got I'll show you this one. So this one's just called Tartan. I'm sure you can see a bit of a rowdy Roddy Piper in this one here. So it gives you an idea of the kind of stuff. These are the stat cards as well. So you basically have just the number of dice that you'll roll and the colour of that dice. And then these are basically what they can do, the different moves and stuff, and how much sort of hit points they've got and stuff. But yeah, it's a cool game. If you like I think the comment was about getting somebody in who's lost a bit of interest. It's that kind of game. They would definitely do that. Scott saying Carnivale has the feel of Assassin's Creed games, which drawn me to it. I can imagine it does, mate, with that kind of very sort of Venetian, almost kind of sort of sword fighter type thing. Peter saying Carnivale sounds cool, but I don't like the minis in the set. I think they actually look better when you see them in flesh, mate, to be fair. Jane saying it's a bit like Assassin's Creed plus Gothic plus Lovecraftian. Yeah, those kind of like sort of sea monsters coming out the water and stuff. Definitely has that one. Brian Sheen, good evening, Brian. He says, I won a copy of Rumble Slam in a raffle, and it's a great game. I may not have otherwise checked it out. There you go. Praise indeed. Where are we up to here? Vincent saying, 1-page rules, Green Army Men rules, with 2 bags of Green Army Men is the cheapest wargaming is ever going to get. I can imagine it probably is, mate. Although, to be fair, yeah, I suppose 1-page rules is free, so yeah. Even 2D printing is more expensive when you count the paper in a toner. Marcus is saying, my times playing X-Wing is just the best I've had. Always loved Star Wars, and my favourite thing is the Starfighters. Like I say, I played it a lot when it was in first edition. Me and my youngest son, or me and my son when he was younger, played it. And when I went to UK Games Expo recently, myself and Marco actually had a demo of it as well, just kind of to play the second edition. Marco had never played it before, so we just played a demo using that starter set as well, and we had a good laugh. Martin said, too bad Warcry starter is too damn expensive to make this list. Warcry is a great game, it's just not cheap. I think you generally find that with most of Games Workshop stuff. They're just not cheap for that kind of stuff. There's everything you need to play in those kind of starter sets, but like with all of the terrain and everything else, but they're just not cheap. You have to want to get into them, really. They're not something that you just kind of go, it's 30 quid, I'll give it a try type thing. I must have just jumped ahead a little bit. Dr. Kruger said, an Underworld's format that uses only faction-specific cards and generals from the starter sets would be good. Yeah, I think it depends, obviously, whoever's organising them, doesn't it, really? Yoakum is saying, already got 4 out of 5, didn't get expensive tonight. Dan says, I might take you on that offer once I can drive again. Anytime, I'm always happy to play. Scott saying, Underworld was fine until Forces got banned from tournaments because they were out of season. I think that's the way they have to do that kind of stuff, mate. Like I said before, it's a bit like Magic and stuff. It becomes unwieldy, unfortunately, when you just kind of the way they release those season things. But again, I mean, how many people really play at tournaments? Like, you don't have to play the game at a tournament. It's all right to kind of complain about it and say, oh well, I can't use this anymore. But like, I've never been to an Underworlds tournament in my life, so it doesn't affect the way I would play the game, kind of thing. Vijay says the only reason 40k players might be jumping to BattleTech will be due to sullen and whining. It'll last all of 5 minutes. I think you're right, mate. I think I'm with you on that one. John's there saying, I'm always cooking dinner during these live streams, making it tough to follow along. Roast chicken on the menu. Let me scroll down a bit. Dave's calling it a night. Good night, Dave. Marcus says, 2 of my friends are huge fans of BattleTech, but to me there's way too much bookkeeping. I think the super cheap starter set has kind of like a streamlined version of it. But yeah, the everything I keep hearing about it is it's a bit like sort of it's like an Excel spreadsheet, about as interesting as that. Christian sharing the link for Amazon as well. Thank you very much. If you do shop on Amazon, or if you want to check out maybe get a free Audible book by doing a free trial, please click on the link there as well. You pay the normal Amazon prices, and I make a small commission for sending you that way. Richard sitting calling at night. Nice to be in the chat and actually see some hobby chat. I'll have to join more often. Thank you very much, Rich. A pleasure, mate, and best of luck as well with the rest of the Kickstarter. Scott's in is there now a few add-ons to Rumble Slam. I currently have 2 rings painted. Yeah, there is a few bits and pieces. Again, it's the stuff that you don't have to, but obviously the companies are trying to, they're trying to keep these games alive. They're trying to keep making expansions and getting people spending money. That's how it works, isn't it? Tiberius says there's a Carter from Final Fantasy pose and all. I'm not really into Final Fantasy, mate, so I would have went over my head, that one. Spylaw says, why GW haven't done a 40k version of Underworlds yet? I'll never know. It would print money. I think it would probably kill Underworlds, man. That's probably the problem with it. Christian saying, time for bed as well. Good night, mate. I'll catch you later. Yoakum says, me and my brother play Rumble Slam at the moment, watching a little bit of Royal Rumble from the 90s before the game sets the mood. I can imagine it does. John says, I've come to the realisation I don't have enough monsters or weird aliens. I must rectify the situation by getting some zombies. Tyler says, theoretically, could someone play Rumble Slam online? I'd love to sit down and play it and learn the game. I think technically you could probably play it You know, like if somebody's got it set up and basically like you've just got a camera on it and you're telling them what you want to do to learn the game, I think you certainly could, mate. The game is like moves around on a grid. Like think of the wrestling ring being a bit like a Blood Bowl pitch where you're moving like squares to move around. So it's not like measuring with like a tape measure or something like that. So technically, you could play it like kind of over a connection, mate. Yeah. Walter saying Warcry isn't just not cheap. Just like Kill Time, you'd be milked for $100 worth of rules if you want to continue playing it. Technically not the case as well, mate. I think with Warcry you can play with, if you buy Warcry rulebook or if you buy the Warcry Catacombs box, for example, you can just play with what's in that box. You don't have to keep buying more stuff. I think people, and I said this before, I think when it comes to miniature gaming, people feel that you always have to have the latest of everything. It's like people playing FIFA on a video game. Technically, you can go back and play like FIFA 2000. If you just want to play a football game, you can go and play that. But people who are really into FIFA always want the latest one. They want all the players in the right teams, and they want the whoops, just not on the microphone there. They want the upgrades that are never really upgrades. Let's be honest. All you're really paying for is the new strips and the players in the right teams. And I think people are like that about miniatures games as well. They think that they have to keep up with everything, but it's just not the case, really. I mean, how many of us really play in competitive tournaments? And actually, if we just took a step back and went, hang on a second, like Warcry is a prime example. I bought a lot of Warcry stuff right up to the point where those new kind of faction books came out, if you like, the one for Order, the one for Death, and all that kind of stuff. And I never bought them. And I'm still playing the game. I still play it. I'm still enjoying it. I don't feel the need to kind of like to have to spend more money on it to get some enjoyment from it. Ed says the Marvel Crisis Protocol starter set is fantastic value, nowhere near the £40 limit though. I'd agree, mate, as well. I think when it first came out, it was about £100, which I think is really expensive. However, you can pick it up for about £60 now, £67, something like that. And I think at that, it's fantastic value. But yeah, nowhere near the £40. Scott saying I have well over 100 mechs and vehicles for Battletech. How many times have you played it, mate? Like, and how many of them are painted? Like, do you enjoy BattleTech? I honestly don't know anything about it. I'm not slating the game. I just don't know anything about it. I'm not really into kind of like mechs and stuff. Scott said, I've been listening a lot to BattleTech books on Audible. I think, yeah, if you're into the kind of background and stuff, I mean, there's a role-playing game, there's a miniatures game, there's a board game, there's loads of BattleTech stuff, but it's just never really grabbed me personally. VG says, Fireteam is pretty much as close as you'll get to 40k Underworlds. Pretty much a mashup of Kill Team and Underworlds. RPD, hello RPD, how are you doing? It says nowhere near £40, but I do love Mansions of Madness. I haven't played Mansions of Madness yet. I almost picked it up when I was at UK Games Expo, because you can play it solo, you play it with the app, and I almost picked it up and I didn't. And since then I've started to really get into kind of like a lot of Lovecraft stuff. I've been listening to different like podcasts and stuff. I'm tempted to pick up Aconite books. Do a lot of books based upon Fantasy Flight games, so they do a lot of Arkham horror books. So I'm kind of tempted to pick up one of them novels and read that. So I'm kind of getting a bit more into that kind of Lovecraftian stuff. So yeah, I potentially might pick that up at some point. Peter saying, yeah, GW is expensive. Bought the Kill Team box, didn't buy the compendium. Might try it out with the 2 teams in the core box, but mostly in it for the models. Yeah, I must admit, I mean, I didn't buy it, so I can't really complain about it because it doesn't really affect me. But it was a bit disappointing the way they've released the new Kill Team, where the compendium thing is really like the index books when 9th edition dropped for 40k, and it's only a matter of like sort of weeks and months before it's irrelevant, really, before that book is kind of already outdated. I know why they did it, and I get why they did it, but really they could have put that information as like it should have just been cheaper, let's be honest. I'd have been happy if that was a free download online, so that when it does get superseded, like people don't have to pay the money for it, because it's not cheap. I just think there's better ways to do it, but yeah, I didn't buy it, so I can't really complain about it. It hasn't cost me a penny. And when I say I haven't bought it, I haven't got it. It's not like I got it sent to me either. I just wasn't interested. Scott's going to have to get Godty out again. It's been a while. Yeah, I need to get mine painted. I mean, I've started painting a few bits and pieces, but then basically was just enjoying playing it as it was. I didn't feel like I needed to paint it. Ice Moon says it's not released yet, though, if I recall. I wonder what we're talking about, mate. It's not released yet. I don't know what that was in relation to, mate. What the Black says, if you want to play and pick up games at a shop, the most recent edition of the game is the norm. Steady group of friends might be less of an issue to play an old version. Yeah, I mean, if you're just getting pick up games, mate, you do have to kind of keep up with the latest stuff. But it depends. It depends who your friends are and stuff. It depends where you play. It depends what you play. Like, there's plenty of people still playing, like, 9th edition fantasy. There's plenty of people playing kind of old school Necromunda. Blood Bowl hung around for long enough before it was kind of updated. So there is examples of it. It just depends on who you play and where you play. But then I guess that can, unless you're strong enough to lead the way on that, you'll always just follow what everybody else plays. I mean, that's why 40k is so popular as it is, because there's just like there's a vast kind of a lot of people who basically just go, oh, well, I'll just play what everybody else plays, really. And rather than going, actually, I'm really interested in this, I'm going to play this, does anybody else want to play it with me, kind of thing. Sometimes you've got to take the bull by the horns a little bit. Nostock says it's one of the only tangible, it's one of the only available in Target games. Yeah, sorry, yes, it's one of those. It's the Blitz Bowl of 40k basically. James is saying TT Combat Blocks is a new Carnivale expansion called Blood on the Water is coming this year. I'll have to keep an eye out for that one, mate. Dan says I like Warcry, but I think it works best with just the Warband boxes. I agree, mate. I have played, obviously, I haven't got any of the kind of the warbands myself of the kind of like the AOS type stuff. I just stuck to the warband boxes, and I agree. The person I played with the most, and when I went to I went to Warhammer World to play in a tournament, and most people there just played the warband boxes because that was the attraction of the game. And to be honest, it was one of the attractions of the new kill team as well. But then when I started to see what the rules were like, I was thinking, it's more complicated than I want it to be. It's not for me, really. But I do like the idea of just buying a box and playing what's in the box kind of thing. I think that's how those kind of games work really well. If you want to get into kind of fancy list building and all that stuff, there's plenty of other games out there like 40k if that's what you're looking for. And I kind of wish they'd kept Warcry that way. I know why they didn't, but I would have preferred it, I think, for it to just to stay like that. Each to their own kind of thing. But when I've played it with my friends, we've generally just played the kind of the Warcry boxes against each other. The Warcry boxes, I should say. Scott saying you keep saying BattleTech is a spreadsheet style game. You need to play Alpha Strike BattleTech. It's totally different. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think the cheap one basically is nothing like that. I just said that's I've never played it, so I can't really comment. I'm just saying about what I keep hearing about it basically. Glenn says recently bought a good bit of Elder Sign stuff, even 2 expansions from Zatu Games earlier today. Really enjoying it with the wife. I don't know Elder Signs, mate, but yeah, part of the Cthulhu stuff. Rob Franelson, good evening, mate. How are you doing? He says, I would throw in Hero Clicks. 2-player starters are cheapish. They even have a really good WWE 2-player version. I'm not a fan of Hero Clicks, mate. I find them pretty poor quality, if I'm perfectly honest. It's not something that's ever really interested me. Ed says, I do think you like the new kill team. It's quick, evocative, and the list building mechanics don't demand malicious maths. I don't think I would, mate, if I'm honest. I've kind of read through the rules and stuff. I know they've been leaked online and stuff like that. I've read through, and it's already more complicated than I want it to be. Peter said, I thought you might have been interested. Takes over the style of Warcry a bit. I was when I first heard about it, mate. But then the more I heard about it, the less I was interested. I just didn't even get involved for the hype for it, basically, and resisted buying it. And I still don't feel any pull to kind of pick it up, really. John says that's a bit of an attraction for BattleTech. It's largely identical to the original rule set from the mid-80s. Yeah, and that's what I mean about it's kind of like it's different horses, different courses kind of thing. There's a game for everyone. Like, so just because somebody doesn't like one particular game or somebody really loves another one doesn't mean anybody's right or wrong. If we all look excuse me, if we all love the same games, then there only need to be one game kind of thing. VG saying, yeah, Elder Sign's great, he's got a few expansions. And Nostalgia says, I just went to check, HeroClix was discontinued, but then bought out by another company. Yeah, I've seen some kind of HeroClix models kind of dotting about in some of the Marvel groups and things. And yeah, that's not really my kind of thing. Scott says, if you fancy a game or two, I could bring Battletech, Carnivale and God Tier. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really interested in Battletech. Like, the theme of it doesn't interest me. I'm happy to play Carnivale and God Tier, but Battletech's not really my thing, mate, if I'm honest. Tiberius says, I was interested in Kill Team, but not really the tight city fight, cities of death thing I was hoping. I think it looks fantastic. I think the 40k models look fantastic. I think the scenery all set out on those kind of like tight, kind of sort of smaller sized tables, I think look great. But it's another game. If I bought it, I'd spend a couple of days building the models. I'd probably spend a little while painting some up, and then I'd probably get one game in of it. It wouldn't be something I would kind of play very often. So yeah, it just wasn't for me, basically. Ed says, Kill Team 2 is orders of magnitude less complicated than Kill Team 1. The rules look complex because they're very different, but on the table they're intuitive. Yeah, I'm not saying that's complex, mate. It's just more complex than I want, that's all. Peter says, I didn't follow the hype for Kill Team as well. Never played last edition. It was just a look, this is cool moment and bought it. Also, never enough Imperial Guard. Rob says, I agree with you on HeroClix. I stopped playing, but everyone has different taste. Figured others might be interested as a game under 40. I thought your list was a general list. No, it's fine, mate. Yeah, it is a general list, mate. I basically, the list the 5 I picked were games that I can recommend myself because I either own them or I have played them. And the stuff on the honourable mentions list was stuff that I thought were good value, but maybe just fell outside the price range, or I hadn't played them, so I couldn't recommend them. HeroClix, I don't even really think of it as a miniatures game, even though there's miniatures in it. I've just never saw the attraction in it personally. John says, I convinced my brother-in-law to try Battletech, but we haven't had a chance. Peter says, if I ever play the new Kill Team, I'm going to ignore the new measuring method and write the values in inches. I think it'll work fine, mate, with the new measuring stuff. I hear people kind of mixed sort of opinions on it, really, but I've never played it, so I've got no idea, really. Spiderlord said, Elder Sign is really cool dice and card game. The expansions are great too, not as expensive as some. I've still got... I'm just looking at it now, actually. I've still got Arkham Horror that I've never played. I bought it with a voucher that I got from work one Christmas, because I had a voucher for Waterstones, and it was in Waterstones because they have like a number of board games and stuff, so I bought it, and I've never got around to even trying it yet. VG says, Blitzball is only available in the US and Germany. Yeah, Fireteam will be available in-game in the UK, so at least you guys will be able to buy it off the shelf, yeah. Tizzy Brain Drain, good evening, mate. How are you doing? Michael Cowan says, right, brushes away, so I'm off to bed. Good night. I'll be buying Carnivale soon. Nice one, mate. I enjoyed the demo. Myself and Luke Pryor played a demo of it at UK Games Expo, and the only reason I didn't really buy it myself was because it was a game I didn't think I'd really get round to playing much. So that was the only reason I didn't buy it. But yeah, I think it's a good game. It's a game I'd like to play. Prawn Toucher says, blurring the lines between minis games and board games, the Wildlands game by Ospreys are around the £40 mark. Wildlands and the Dread version, Helter Skelter. I think there's a lot of that kind of blurring the lines these days, mate. And I think there's a lot of miniatures games, or a lot of board games that you could probably class as miniatures games these days. RPD says, I got and played Arkham Horror. It's basically almost like a sim. Oh, like a simple Mansions of Madness. Yeah, I must admit, there's a couple of times I've kind of got it out when I've had a bit of time to myself, and I've got all the cards out and read through the rules and stuff, and then I've ended up kind of putting it down because I've run out of time or whatever. But one day, I think if I get a bit of time to myself, I'll probably play it through. Peter says, Elder Sign has an X-Men version as well. Or X-Men version, I should say. Insurrection. I've heard of that, mate. I didn't realise that was what it was based upon. Excuse me. Rob Zunk there saying he's just sold his original Kill Team. An interesting Carnivale now. Nice, mate. Ed saying the new measuring tools are in inches. They just put symbols on them to avoid tape measure syndrome. I'm not even sure if that's the case. Why, mate? I think it's more to do with the way they've broken the game down, that you can do stuff in increments. And I think you trying to get away from remembering inches or remembering numbers and saying you can move this or a portion of this, I think is technically the reasoning behind it, I think. Tizzy Brentrin says, and not just that, but I've been actually working on a hobby, which I was hoping to do originally since I had the day off. Nice one, mate. Well, I was saying his mum being here messed up his schedule. Tavinda, hello Tavinda, how are you doing? Says Battletomes going up by €5 to be 30 in AOS is such a scam. I played a game of Kings of War this weekend, remembered why I love it. Yeah, I mean, again, I think people end up playing like what their friends play, what their local gaming groups play, and that kind of stuff. And I think Games Workshop can afford to kind of keep putting them prices up because people will keep paying it, unfortunately. But there's plenty of games out there, and I think, yeah, Kings of War is a fantastic game. VG saying Arkham Horror is an awesome game, but make sure you have a good few hours to play. Elder Sign is a very similar feel if you only have 60 minutes or so. I have both and play them a lot. That's my feeling with Arkham Horror. When I've kind of read through the rules to try and understand how he plays, I always feel like I need more time than I've got when I've kind of come to sit down and play it. Peter says Fireteam looks like GW selling off some excess common figures. I think they're just trying to kind of break into a new market, to be fair. They're trying to encourage people to come through, like selling them in the game shops and stuff like that. I was in the Metro Centre recently and I bought some paints from Game because they had a small selection of the Citadel range in there, and I just needed like a wash. I think it was. I needed a wash and like a sterling mud texture paint. So I just picked them up from there. So yeah, it's nice to see them kind of spreading out a little bit. Peterson talking about X-Men, the Marvel Legendary card game I bought is great fun. Yeah, I've done a review of the Marvel Legendary game actually. John says, when my daughter was young, I didn't have the energy to build and paint models, so I got a few of the collectible minis games. Excuse me. Oh, my throat's really dry. Excuse me. Tyler says, a quick, easy game. GW's Gore Chosen. Gore Chosen was a great game. I've got it on the shelf over there still, mate. Great game. Blizzard says, would Gaslands count as a miniatures game? I think it would be under £40. It would, mate, but I mentioned before, the reason I didn't include it is the fact that it doesn't come with everything that you need to play in the box. If you buy I kind of included it in the miniature agnostic game side of things. So when I was talking about kind of notable exceptions, I included it in miniature agnostic, and purely that's because you have to then go and buy kind of toy cars, or you might have some toy cars lying about. However, it's still classed as a miniatures game, I would say. It's a tabletop game anyway, as opposed to a board game. Peter says, didn't Gore Chosen get re-released? It didn't, mate. No, it never got re-released. Mini Warmwood says, I guess I should just open Lord of the Rings card game and see what this LCG stuff is about. RPD says, I used to buy a lot of GW stuff. Wish I hadn't. There's a lot better and cheaper games out there, though I do like and still buy their paints. I think people should just like buy the stuff that they like, and not really worry about everything else. Everyone needs to remember that this is a hobby, and a hobby is meant to be enjoyable, and you're meant to do stuff because you enjoy it and you get some pleasure from it. And I think what happens is we get into a lot of the politics of this kind of stuff, and we start worrying about the price of things, and we start worrying about what's this company doing. At the end of the day, we all have different amounts of disposable income, and we all like different things. As long as you're happy with what you're buying, if you think it's too expensive, don't buy it. If you think you're getting good value for money, go ahead and get it. And I think we need to just sometimes forget the politics of stuff. It's not meant to be hard. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be a bit of switch your brain off, a little bit of escapism and stuff like that. And this is not a dig at you. It's just kind of triggered something I was thinking about. And I think sometimes we shouldn't really worry about what we've done. Don't regret stuff. Just make different choices in the future, kind of thing. Scott says, me and my son have been playing a lot of trading card games lately. Spiderlord says that the reason the Battletomes will have gone up is because they'll be doing an app code like 40k, I reckon. I think it's probably just because the things are costing more money. They don't get printed in the UK, do they? So shipping costs will have gone up. I think we do have to kind of... GW are not good at explaining why costs are going up, but I think we can't deny the fact that everything's going up in price. Mantic had a price rise recently. They just do a better job at explaining why they're doing a price rise. So yeah, I can see a lot of things. If it's not produced in the UK, like shipping containers have gone up like 500% in shipping costs. I think anything that's printed outside the UK, it's probably still cheaper to print it in sort of China or whatever, but by the time they pay the shipping costs and stuff, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the reason they're starting to creep up. Marcus says, GW only really gets money from me when I need more paints or books. Never been the kind of gamer who has to have one of everything. A lot of people are though, mate, and that's what keeps them going. Lightseekers is not a bad game actually, mate. Just talking about there, Scott. Lord Min says, agreed, huge hobby, do what's best for you. Exactly, mate. And Ed says there, time for bed, thanks for the stream. Nice one. So Scott says he picked up Lightseekers for £1 with the 2-player intro set. So Lightseekers is pretty much the same as Warhammer Age of Sigmar card game, which basically got discontinued as a physical card game, but is an online digital version now. And if you look in, where did I see them the other day? Not the Range. What's them other stores called? Oh, what's them like cheap bookstores that sell like sort of art supplies and stuff? I forget what they're called now. Warhammer Champions, that's the one, Ian. Yeah. What's them The Works, that's the one I'm thinking of. Thanks, Tiberius. The Works had the Warhammer Champions card sets in really cheap. I noticed the other day I was looking for a Pokemon book for my little boy for his birthday, and I noticed they were selling all that kind of stuff. Yeah, The Works it was. He's like, this just shows the delay now when 20 people tell me The Works. Yeah, thank you, it was The Works. So yeah, but if you're just going to play with kind of like a couple of starter sets or something, they're great value. Tiberius, you know, B&M's got them in as well. I've not been to B&M recently, mate. So yeah, cool to see them. Obviously, somebody's selling them off like by the boatload. It was a good game. It just kind of, they set it up to be an online game as well at the same time, and then everybody just played the online game. I think that's essentially what happened. Anyway, folks, I think we might as well start to wrap it up now because my throat is dry as a bone. Scott's asking how much on the price. I think it was like, they might have been like £3 or £4, mate, or something like that for a starter box. Lobin says I still have 3 ordered decks for Warhammer Champions. I still got some stuff as well. Actually, Scott, I don't know if I've still got my stuff. If I've got it, mate, if I dig it out, you can have it to play with a boy, mate. I got them given to me at like a UK Games Expo a few years ago when the game first came out. It's kind of like a press set, and card games are not really my kind of thing, so they sat in the box basically. If I've still got them, if I haven't kind of got rid of them, then you're more than welcome to have them, mate. Nostock says Gaslands is absolutely not less than £40. You end up buying all the weird Hot Wheels cars. Yeah, Peter says talking about picking up cheap starters. I bought the War Age card game. I've not heard of that, mate. Sometimes you have to take a leap. Peter says good stream. Thanks to everyone and good night. Yeah, perfect timing, mate. So thank you very much, folks. If you're new here and you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. If you would like to support me in keeping this going as my full-time job, please do check out the Patreon. And if you like any of the games that I was talking about tonight, if you check down in the description of this video, you'll see affiliate links to them. Please check them out. And if you're not supporting a local store, you don't find them anywhere cheaper, that would be a help to me as well. So thank you very much, folks, and I will see you on Wednesday night for the Hobby Hangout. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month. And there is lots of different tiers and bonuses, which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.